welcome back to the Grounded Reflection. So, hopefully, you all saw my last post, the Grounded Minute, when we went into anxiety, right? And using anxiety as a concept of energy. First, I like to say, anxiety does happen on a spectrum. You have anxiety that people may experience, I won't say day to day, but on a lower level of severity. And sometimes this may be situational, right? Sometimes this may be you're going on your first date, so you're nervous, you're thinking a lot, you're overthinking, like, what should I wear? What should I do? What should I say? Those things can cause some nervousness and some anxiety as well. It may be presentations, right? Talking in front of a large crowd, going on interviews, things of that sort. If you think about all those examples, you've probably experienced them and then noticed you were able to get through it pretty well once you started the process and moved through and got a little bit more comfortable. Now, there's also anxiety that is a little bit more difficult to handle, and that is anxiety that's really like more of your clinical anxiety. So some of that may be related to like trauma, panic attacks, anxiety attacks. That piece is a little bit more different, right? So we're going to hone in, we're going to focus in on more of your anxiety, a lower severity level. So hopefully prevent it to where your anxiety is reaching a more clinical level. So when I say anxiety looks more like energy, it's because sometimes you can use that anxiety in a way that is beneficial to you. If you can, one, recognize it, and two, know what to do with that anxiety to get things done, to get things moving. So give you some examples. A lot of times I like to think about like, how does anxiety show up in your body, right? Where does it start? What feelings do you have? Is there jitterness that's happening that is very much observable to people around you and or yourself? And how can we help get that calm? Now, we know a lot of people now know about deep breathing methods, which is absolutely beneficial, and it does work because it helps to regulate your body. It helps to get your body out of, your fight or flight modes or your freeze modes. It can help you ground, regulate, think, and move. But in addition to that, there are also other things that you can do with anxiety in addition to or outside of deep breathing. Few things that I've found that seems to be helpful for people is recognizing where anxiety shows up in your body. So if anxiety shows up in your hands, right, how can we transfer that energy so that you're not doing this? How can we make that energy look different? Some people have recognized like stress balls or fidgeting helps in that moment. Some people have also recognized that something a little bit more intense, which may be, something like push-ups or stretching, may also help in that moment, especially if the anxiety is in the hands, but then extend up into your arms. That sometimes can help transfer that anxiety in a positive way, but actually exert some of that energy. You may also see a lot of people, they'll pace the small room trying to figure out what's happening, what's going on. Okay, so we need to move. That is perfectly fine. But how about we extend and expand on that kinetic energy and take that walk outside, right? If it's good weather, if it's a safe place to be, let's remove ourselves from an environment where that anxiety may sit and may actually have started or initiated that anxiety. And let's open it up so that you don't feel so in captive, right? Let's open this up to outside, get some fresh air. You can work on that deep breathing as you walk, but you're using that kinetic energy in a way that could be more beneficial for you than enclosing yourself in a small environment and in an environment that may contain that anxious energy. In addition to this, you got to think about your thoughts. The thought process is really important. Give you an example. From my experience when I was much younger during Katrina, of course my anxiety was really, really high, right? And I do have a heart problem. Nothing on the lines of getting heart attacks or anything like that. But I remember when my anxiety was through the roof, I thought I was having a heart attack. And that quickly shot my anxiety up through the roof even more than what it was, because now I'm going into a heart attack or, oh my God, am I dying? And so that circle of thought that was looping definitely was not beneficial to my anxiety. And mind you, I've never had a heart attack, right? My heart condition is not based in someone that has heart attacks. But that was my thought process. And I'm sure many of you that's watching this video, you found yourself in a place where your anxiety was high and you went through that thought loop and it really made it worse. So some of the options too is like, look at your choices. What's around you? What's available to you? What choices do you have? And also kind of think about, right, is this realistic, right? Am I basing that, or do I just need to calm down and focus in on the here and the now and what's accessible to me and what's around me, to help ground these thoughts, but also ground this anxious feeling and emotions. So you do want to be careful with your thoughts. They can be your best friend, but they can also be your foe. So remember, your thoughts are just as powerful as you make them or you allow them to be. So sometimes it's good to go through that analysis of your thoughts and make sure you're on the right path. Here, I'll share with you just some opportunities and some things to think about if you do find yourself experiencing anxiety. This is a list of things that you maybe should not do or think twice about. And then this is the list of things you can do that could be more beneficial for you using that anxious anxiety to your benefit. Remember, sometimes anxiety is an indicator that we're just going into something different, unknown, and new. And a lot of times it is exactly those situations that may help you grow. Not all situations, but you may find growth within those situations and some new experiences. So anxiety isn't always an indicator. It could just be a feeling that we're feeling in a gateway of something new, some change, and some growth. So I hope this was helpful for you. Please like, share, comment, tell me how you manage your anxiety, especially if you have some creative ways. It may be helpful to folks within the community. And I love what we can share within our community of things that's helpful for us, especially if they do help us grow, change, and live better lives, right? As best as we can. So thank you for spending time with me. Again, never underestimate your power of your presence, and stay tuned for more.